Willow! Hello everybody. Today, it's almost nighttime now, but today we're going to talk about Willow, directed by Ron Howard, and came out in 1988. Story by George Lucas and executive produced by George Lucas. Willow is, since we're talking about fantasy this month, Willow is another really amazing fantasy movie that came out. There was really nothing like that. You know, it sort of went, I don't want to say it went under the radar, but a lot of people in the new generation, they don't really know about that movie. But besides Lord of the Rings, I think this is the best fantasy movie that I've seen. Even though it's such a long time ago, it had a really great story, had a great script. The production design, I hadn't seen it in a long time, I just watched it again last night. The production design and the cinematography, costumes, the actors were really great. They were really scary and funny, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun to watch. This movie has, if you're into fantasy movies, this is a really good one because it has two-headed dragon monsters that blow out fire. It has trolls. It has fairies, pixies, brownies. It has wizards, good and evil, little people, tall people, everything. It really does have everything you want. Magic, a warm story with a good moral, scary moments. Oh yeah, it stars Val Kilmer, and Val Kilmer, his character Mad Mardigan was really awesome because in his character arc he was sort of this selfish warrior guy who never helped anybody. He kind of got thrown into the mix by having to take care of this child. There was a prophecy that told of the collapse of the empire, if you will. There's an evil queen rules the empire. It's interesting because when I was watching this film, I realized there's a lot of similarities between Star Wars and Willow. In Star Wars, you have Darth Vader and the evil empire and all that, and you have the emperor who's electrocuting Luke, and in Willow you have the evil queen, and her right hand man is this guy with a big skeleton mask who wears all black. He's a big guy, and in the end all this electricity, lightning comes down out of the sky and electrocutes the queen, just sort of like how the emperor was getting shocked, you know, when Darth Vader threw him over the edge. So there was definitely some really strong mythological tropes, or you know, story structure in there that works really well. And yeah, I think this is Ron Howard's best film for sure that I've seen. He isn't really known for doing fantasy or science fiction, but I was reading an article about how I think he directed a movie called Cocoon, which I have not seen. From what little parts I did see looked pretty bad, but I guess George Lucas saw him working on that, and then he was working at ILM and he asked him to do Willow next. So there you go, that's how those things happen. But I'm typically not I'm typically not really a fan of Ron Howard, but this was really good. This was really, really good, and it just shows if you have a good producer like George Lucas on your side and a really good script, then that helps out a lot. So yeah, check out Willow if you haven't seen it. It's probably my number 2 fantasy movie that I've seen, other than Lord of the Rings. Is probably number 1. And it's just a lot of fun. I think a lot of movies these days become too serious and they don't really give you a chance to enjoy the adventure or enjoy yourself. They just kind of get too talky or they get too slow. This movie had a lot of action, all kinds of chase scenes and cool weapons, and they had these, speaking of dogs, they had these really scary beast kind of dog-like animals where they put a mask on them and a big long rat tail, and it was all in camera. Everything was in camera. So yeah, the visual effects and special effects were done by Dennis Muren, who's works, you know, on all of the Star Wars movies and E.T. and Jaws and all that stuff. So I actually got to meet Dennis Muren a couple times, and he at the time he was doing a lot of stuff in camera, using a lot of special effects in camera. And I asked him recently, this was just like a year or two ago, I said, hey, I have a couple movies I'm gonna shoot and I really want to design the creatures in camera, like practical effects, and what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good idea? And he just answered very simply, yeah, if you can shoot like Steven Spielberg. So I was like, okay, I think I could do that. You know, it's important to have your own vision, your own style when it comes to filmmaking, but you also need to have some you know, references or directors or filmmakers that you like, that influence you. Everybody has it, so you know, that's definitely one of mine. But anyway, yeah, Willow, woo, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it in a while, I recommend watching it again. And oh yeah, one other thing about that movie, the locations were incredible. They had all this cool stuff, like, you know, trees and like this, like weird twisted up trees. They were up in the mountains, like in the snow. They had waterfalls, forests, castles. There was a lot of really amazing locations in there. A lot of fun. So, oh yeah, when it came out, it got mixed reviews. Oh, and the film cost $35 million to make, and the box office was 137. So it did really well, made a ton of money, and it just goes to show fantasy does make money. So all those producers out there that tell you no, you can't make money with fantasy, they're wrong. It's been done many times. So, all right guys, see you next time. Go check it out.